Becky, and I'm going to be making some tomato vegetable juice today, and we're going to go start now. I have my carrots, my onions, and I also throw in a little bit of celery, and go ahead and get it started. You need a big stock pot to be able to do this. You're able to put in any kind of vegetables that you want. The recipe calls for onion, bell pepper, and carrots, but with any kind of cooking you can put to taste. I have half a cup of carrots, half a cup of bell pepper, half a cup of onions. Get that started. We've got 11 pounds of quartered and cored tomatoes. You will start one at a time, crushing them to help release the juice. And this takes a minute. Once you have some liquid going, then you can go ahead and just start getting them put in. Due, unfortunately, to the fact of the time of the season, I'm using store-bought. They're not near as good or as juicy, so watch your consistency. Normal recipe calls for 22 pounds. Due to time and whatnot, I'm doing half the recipe. Canning can actually be extremely fun. It's relaxing. If you have any pent-up aggression, ripping tomatoes apart can be fun too. Just picture somebody's face. We will also need 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, and some pepper. My personal preference, do it to taste. This recipe is used for soups, stews, anything that you want a tomato base for. I've put it in chili, I've put it, anything really. A sauce over some pork chops, anything that you're wanting a tomato. Now once this gets to going, you'll want to stir it constantly for a few minutes. As the tomatoes break down, continue to mash them. You'll want to do this for about 20 minutes. While that's beginning, you can also make sure that you have your mason jars. You want them sterilized beforehand. And then I put mine in a sink full of hot water, so that way as I'm transitioning, when this is finished, and putting the hot liquid into the jars, you're not transitioning a hot liquid into a cold jar. you're actually putting it into a warm jar and you run less risk of cracking a jar. If you'd like to see, we're already getting quite a liquid base to it. We're just going to continue mashing the tomatoes down, letting everything meld together. There's nothing better on a warm or on a cold night to have a warm homemade bowl of soup. Okay, we're going to let go for now and come back in 20 minutes whenever this is ready. And you can run it through a food mill or a sieve to go ahead and de-seed and de-skin. I personally put it in the blender because I want every bit of what is in there out of it. Get that done, we put it back in the pan, bring it back to a boil, and as soon as that's done, we go ahead and we start filling our quart jars. You put 2 tablespoons of lemon juice per quart jar. And I have this right here that helps to protect the outside and make sure your liquid's going where you want it. And I am actually fixing to fill up my last jar. You want it about a 1/2 inch from the top. You want about a 1/2 inch of headspace. With that being done, you want to wipe off your jars, being very careful because they are very hot. But you want a really good clean space so that way they seal properly. You want a good seal on your jars. Once those are all wiped down and clean, we will get our rings and our lids. The lids I do not heat up because you do not want that seal heated up beforehand. Place those on the jar. And then you screw your rings on. Once again, being careful, these jars are super hot. I hear my water boiling, and that is a water bath canner. And what we will do is we will place it in the boiling water. You want the water to be up high enough that it covers 1 inch above the top of your jar. This right here is a godsend to canners. It enables you to be able to pick up the jars, set them in the water, and also pull them back out without getting your hands in it. Going to place it in the water. You do not want your jars to touch. A lot of your water bath canners have a wire rack that goes in there that actually helps to keep your jars separated. And our last jar is going in. I've got just a touch more water than what I need, so I'm actually going to pull some of that out. We can always add it if it needs it, because it will boil for 40 minutes. As you can see, they're already starting to get bubbles around it. We're going to put the lid on, set the timer for 40, and we'll be back. Thank you. Okay, we are now finishing up the last of it. The timer is at 0. 40 minutes has passed, and it's time to take the jars out. Everything is, of course, extremely hot. And helping me finish this is my youngest boy, Shane, and my nephew, Evan. And Evan, if you want to take 2 jars out, pick them up, set them on the towel for me. Tip it just a little bit, knock some of that water off, and then just set it right there. That's good. Just like that. Set it a little bit farther over, because you're going to want to make room for all of them. If you set your jars close together, the heat actually helps to seal them as well. Once they cool off just for a little bit, I take all of my jars and flip them upside down. That also too helps to create a better seal. Alright. You. Now, those are your finished products. After 24 hours, go back and make sure everything is sealed. If it's sealed, wipe the tops off, and then go ahead and mark it, your date, and what your product is, and put it in your pantry and enjoy it. Have a good one.